A decommissioned nuclear missile silo in Kansas has sold out, every unit, to people who believe the world is ending and have personally confirmed there is a heated pool. Let's get into it. Level 1. The Steel Box. The entry point into Doomsday real estate is a prefabricated steel bunker, dropped into a hole in your backyard. Reportedly somewhere between $200,000 and $400,000, depending on size. And you can have one delivered on a truck. Inside, you get bunk beds, a generator, some shelving for canned goods, and an air filtration unit that the brochure will describe in far more detail than you will ever need. The buyer here is not a billionaire. He is a dentist in Ohio who watched one too many documentaries, has a very specific spreadsheet, and has never once told his wife the real total he spent on this. He sleeps better. That is the entire product. And at this level, it is honestly not a bad one. Level 2. The Compound. Now the steel box gets a bowling alley. Texas-based Rising S Company sells a model called the Aristocrat, reportedly priced up to around $9.5 million. It comes with a swimming pool, a gym, a sauna, bullet-resistant doors, and what the company calls a motor cave, which is exactly what it sounds like. A hidden garage exit so that when things get bad, you can drive away from your own bunker. Think about what that detail actually tells you. The bunker has an escape route built into it, from itself. The buyer is a regional business owner, construction, maybe oil and gas. He has the land already. He is not worried about a specific event. He just likes knowing that whatever happens, his version of normal continues, just slightly underground, with a better home theater than he currently has above ground. Level 3. The Address. Here is where it stops being a structure on your land and becomes a building you do not own outright. You own a unit in it. In rural Kansas, a converted Atlas missile silo from the Cold War has been turned into a 15-story underground condominium. Half-floor units reportedly start around $1.5 million. Full floors run higher, and the penthouse has reportedly listed for around $4.5 million. There is a shared pool, a rock climbing wall, a movie theater, a dog park, and according to the developer, every single unit has sold. This is the first level where the bunker has an HOA. Reportedly, owners pay monthly fees in the thousands of dollars for amenities in a building whose entire premise is that one day nobody will be able to leave it. The buyer is, by the developer's own account, mostly doctors, scientists, and entrepreneurs. People who are very good at assessing risk professionally and have decided that the correct response to that risk is a shared movie theater 200 feet underground. Level 4. The Network. At Level 4, you are no longer buying a bunker. You are buying a membership in a network of them. A company called Vivos has reportedly built a shelter community in New Zealand designed to house hundreds of people, with members buying into a shared facility the way you'd buy into a private members club, except the membership benefit is a guaranteed bed during a global collapse. Vivos operates multiple such projects in multiple countries, and the pitch is explicitly geographic. If the disaster is regional, you want your spot to be somewhere else. Here is where most people assume the levels just keep getting deeper and more fortified. More concrete, more floors, more square footage underground. They do not. From here, the smartest people in this entire market stop digging completely. What they build instead is stranger, and it is not in the ground. Stay with me. Level 5. The Estate. In Hawaii, on the island of Kauai, a technology billionaire has reportedly built a roughly 5,000 square foot underground shelter beneath his compound. It includes its own energy and water supply, an escape hatch, and reportedly connects via tunnel to the main residences above it. With the surrounding land included, the total project has been estimated at around $270 million. Notice what changed. This is not a bunker with a house attached. This is a house with a bunker as one room among many. The shelter is not the destination. It is a feature of an estate so large. That hiding part of it underground barely shows up on the tour. Level 6. The vault. In the Czech countryside, there is a Cold War military bunker, originally built by the Czechoslovak government and the Soviets in the 1980s, that has reportedly been converted into what its owners call the largest private bunker on Earth. Over 300,000 square feet. Inside, reportedly, a wine vault, an indoor garden lit by a skylight that simulates sunrise and sunset, military-grade air filtration, and food and water supplies reportedly designed to last up to a decade. 10 years. Read that again. This facility is not built to wait out a bad week. It is built on the assumption that the surface of the planet might not be a viable option for a decade, and that whoever is inside should not notice the difference. And here's the detail that says the most. A facility stocked for 10 years isn't being built by people who think the crisis will be short. It's being built by people who have priced in the possibility that it might never fully end, and decided that was an acceptable number to plan around. Level 7. The inversion. And here's the part almost nobody talks about, because it isn't a building at all. The people who have thought about this longest and most seriously have largely concluded that a bunker is the wrong answer. Not because it doesn't work, because it requires you to be standing in exactly the right hole in the ground at exactly the right moment, with the disaster already underway, hoping the door seals properly. The actual top-level answer is redundancy. A residence in the southern hemisphere and one in the northern. Multiple passports, often acquired specifically for this purpose, so that no single country's instability is a personal emergency. A private jet on permanent standby, fueled, with a flight plan that does not require asking anyone's permission. And land in a place like New Zealand, reportedly favored by more than one prominent investor for exactly this reason, chosen less for its bunkers than for its distance from almost everything else. This is the inversion. Level 1 through 6 all assume the disaster happens and then you go somewhere. Level 7 assumes you are simply never in the place where it happens, because your life was never tied to one place to begin with. So if you're keeping score, here's the actual ranking. The $200,000 steel box in Level 1 is more likely to be useful in an actual regional emergency than almost anything above it, because it's close, it's simple, and the owner can reach it. Everything from Level 3 upward is optimized for a scenario its owner is statistically unlikely to be standing near when it happens. Here's what these 7 levels actually reveal. Not about the apocalypse, about control. Every level on this list is fortified against something different. Nuclear fallout, pandemics, civil unrest, climate collapse. But every single one of them, from the cheapest to the most extreme, is actually fortified against the same thing. The feeling of not being in control of what happens to you next. The bunker was never the product. The illusion that you saw it coming was. I break down how these things actually work, not how the brochure describes them. See you in the next one.